How to validate ideas. Avoid this costly mistake. Now, have you ever had an idea so exciting that you couldn't wait to get started working on it? Maybe it's the kind of idea that keeps you up late at night and has you jumping out of bed early in the morning. Now, I'm sure you know the feeling. But hold up for a second, because this is the place where you could make a costly mistake. And here's that mistake. Just because you think it's a great idea doesn't mean your market will think it's a great idea. You're not your market. You might be thinking your idea is the greatest thing since sliced bread. You might be thinking this is the business, product, content, or advertising business that's going to make you rich. But if the reality is that your market is just not interested about your idea, then it's never going to get off the ground. Point is, don't depend entirely on your gut to make business decisions. Instead, do your research and make decisions based on data. Which brings us to the next tip. 5 marketplaces to research ideas. Now, one good way to get a feel for what your market wants is to find out what they are already buying. Now, if you see that people in your niche are snapping up a product similar to the one you were thinking of creating, then there's a good chance they'll buy your product too. So here are 5 marketplaces you can search to research your ideas. Amazon.com, clickbank.com, jdzoo.com, the Apple App Store, Google Play's Android App Store. Look for bestsellers in each marketplace as well as multiple products that are similar. Both of these factors are evidence that a particular product is popular. Now use Google. Another way to find out what people are buying is to run a Google search for your niche keywords, such as golfing or weight loss. Then check out these 2 key areas. First, the search results. Now check out what the biggest websites in your niche are selling. See if these results are similar to what you found when you searched the online marketplaces. Then the sponsored ads. And check out what sort of ads other marketers are paying to place alongside Google's regular search results. Now, even better is if you can check out these ads over time. If someone is willing to pay money to place an ad week after week, then that's a sign that their product or service is selling. Now, here's the next validation idea. Survey your market. The idea here is to ask your market if they'd be interested in the product, service, or overall business idea that you are thinking about creating. And you might also get some information about how much people are willing to pay for this product or service. But this method comes with a warning tag. What people say they'll do and what they'll actually do are 2 different things. People may even believe what they're saying, but when it comes to act, pull out their credit card. So they hesitate. So here's the point. Do not rely on this method in isolation to validate an idea. Instead, use it as a one step in gathering information and getting a better insight to what your prospects want and what they're thinking. Next, talk to experts. Another way to validate an idea is to talk to trusted experts in your niche. For example, if you have a mentor, then run your idea by him or her. If the mentor or the other expert has a lot of experience in the niche, he may have already tested this particular idea. And he may also be able to give you additional ideas for features, benefits, positioning the offer, and so on. Now, if an expert tells you the idea will fail because he tried something similar and it failed, then inquire a little further and see if you can figure out why it failed. If you can't figure out the reason, you might be able to launch something similar with success. Here's another way to validate an idea. Produce a light product. Instead of launching your entire business or creating a full-featured product, simply create a light version instead. This is sometimes called an MVP, or your minimum viable product. Now, if your market likes the light version, then you'll know it's a worth investment to develop the full product. For example, if you're developing an app, then develop a light version first with minimal features. Now, related to this, create a related lead magnet. Another idea is to create a free lead magnet that's highly related to your idea, but not necessarily a light version. So if people are interested in your lead magnet, that tells you that there is a market for your idea. For example, if you've got an idea for a diet guide, then try offering a lead magnet with recipes related to this guide. Now, if people eagerly claim and use this lead magnet, that's a sign of a viable market. Next, design a fake sales page. Now, yet another way to test a product or service idea is to create a sales page for it. And this is a full sales page, with the only difference being that clicking on the order button does not lead to an order form since you don't have a product ready yet. Instead, it leads to an opt-in form where prospects can be notified when the product is ready. To gauge interest, all you have to do is look to see how many people click the order button. And as an added bonus, you'll develop a list of prospects who will be ready to buy if you decide to pursue the idea. Now, 4 ways to test an idea fast. If you've created a light product or even a sales page to test an idea, then you're going to want to test this idea fast. Here are 4 ways to test your idea by getting traffic quickly or sometimes in less than an hour. Try Google AdWords. Now be sure to pick extremely targeted keywords and create a high converting ad to get the clicks. You can also enlist help from partners. And if you have one or more really good traffic partners or affiliates, then enlist their help to drive traffic to your page. And you can also set up a Facebook ad. Just narrow your audience by demographics and interests so that your traffic is as targeted as possible. Other than that, you can also tell your existing platforms. If you already have communication platforms set up, such as a newsletter, a blog, or social media, then spread the word across these channels to test your ideas. Now, here's another validation idea. Look for an audience. Now, one of the keys to validating your idea is to make sure you have an audience. And one way to check your audience is to look at Facebook's ad platform. Now, heads up, for this strategy, we are not talking about actually running an ad campaign. Instead, all you're doing is checking if there is an audience who'd be interested in what you're selling. To that end, what you'll do is set up an ad campaign so that you can check audience demographics, but do not actually start the campaign. For example, let's suppose you have an idea related to blind dogs. You can pretend to set up an ad campaign on Facebook and pick an audience based on those who've expressed an interest in blind dogs, such as those that have liked blind dog pages or members of blind dog groups. Now, this is a quick and dirty way to gauge the size of a market and whether it's worth pursuing your idea. Now, you can get started by going to facebook.com/business. Next, be sure there is enduring interest. Now, earlier, you learned about how Google Trends can help you generate ideas. You can also validate your existing ideas using this tool. Now, simply enter your keywords and then double check that not only are people interested in the idea now, but they've shown steady, if not increasing interest in the idea over time. So you can check it out at trends.google.com/ trends. Now, 5 questions to ask yourself. As you work through your validation process, you want to be sure you're really clear about your idea. That you ask yourself these questions. What problem are you solving? What is the number one key benefit of your idea? What key feature or benefit will others in your field have a difficult time copying? How much time and money will it cost to create your idea? And what is your break-even point? What potential stumbling blocks or obstacles or problems do you foresee in launching this idea? Next, get your ideas in front of existing customers. Now, the easiest sale you can ever make is to sell something to an existing customer. That's why you should put your ideas in front of your customers, such as a light version of your product, to gauge interest. Now, if you can't get this very warm audience to bite on your offer, then you're going to have a tough time selling others on it. Now, 2 factors that affect your research. Sometimes your idea may actually be pretty awesome, but your research isn't showing it. Now, here are 2 factors that can affect your conclusions. Poorly worded survey questions. So if your surveys and focus groups aren't enthusiastic, now check that you don't have a biased survey or otherwise poorly worded questions. Get feedback from those who do market research to see if they can uncover any problems with your questions. And low converting sales copy. This is a problem if your competitors don't have good sales with similar product ideas, and or if you've tested an idea with a lead page or sales page and your response rate is poor. You may want to have a professional copywriter look it over. Next, launch a fundraiser. Want to know if you've got a good idea? And try crowdfunding your idea by using a platform such as Kickstarter.com or Indiegogo.com. Now, if people are really interested in your fundraiser and your idea, that's a sign that your prospects may be interested in it too. Now, review other niches. The idea here is to do some research to see if your general product idea works outside your niche. Now, if it works in other niches, then there's an increased chance it will work in your niche too. For example, if you're decided to start a Busy Moms line of weight loss products, then check outside your weight loss niche to see if Busy Moms positioning works in general. Understand user priorities. You can have a good idea for a product, service, business, ad campaign, or anything else. But if you don't understand your user priorities, the whole idea can do a belly flop. Now, let me give you an example. Let's suppose you design baby shoes, and you focus on creating tough shoes that would last forever. This is your whole shtick. This is how you planned on separating your shoes from what everyone else is selling. Well, guess what? Parents don't want shoes that last forever because the baby is only going to wear them for a few months before he or she outgrows the shoes. In other words, the long-lasting benefit is not a user priority, so the idea is likely to fall flat. Instead, focusing on comfort, style, or other features and benefits would make the audience more receptive to your idea. Now, bottom line is, you will need to do some research and some thinking in order to understand what your market really wants and what they prioritize, so that your idea can reflect these wants and priorities. So, test your value proposition. Now, once you've figured out what your prospective customers' priorities are, then you need to select a value proposition based on those priorities. And a good way to validate your ideas is to set out these various value propositions to see which ones your audience responds to the best. Now, here's how. You can tweak your lead page to feature your value proposition. You can try placing a paid ad with your value proposition predominantly features. Test a sales page that features your value proposition. You can also transmit your value proposition over social media. If you're not going to get a positive response to the value proposition, that's a sign that it may fall flat with your audience. So think through your idea. Now, when you're working through the idea validation process, you want to spend some time thoroughly thinking through your idea. Ask yourself these questions and take note that not all of them will be relevant to your situation, just depending on the type of idea you're validating. So, is the market reachable? How will you reach them? What will your sales funnel look like? How will you position your idea in the market? Now, is this type of idea where you need to educate the market because they've never really heard of this solution before? If so, what is your plan for educating them? And just a tip, in some cases, it's easier to be the second or third person to bring an idea to market if the idea requires a lot of education. That's because someone else can go through the time and expense of educating the market, and then you can swoop in to a waiting audience. An example, autoresponders. Now, when autoresponders first came about, the market had never heard of them and needed to be heavily educated about how they worked and why marketers needed them. Now, the first autoresponder companies struggled because they had to invest so much in this education while others coming after them flourished. Next, outsource the validation process. Now, you don't need to validate your idea all your own if you don't have the time, experience, or inclination. Instead, search for outsource idea validation and choose an experienced company to do it for you.